Welcome to the second video of Bluebooking for the 1L brief. This video is going to focus on case citation and case names. So remember, under pages 11, 12 of the blue pages, in Rule 10.2.1 in the white pages, we're only going to use the first party listed, whether it's the plaintiff, defendant, the appellant, or appellee. And if it's individual, we're only going to use the last name, and we're not going to include those et al, DPA, DBA, or AKA. So it's going to be Smith v. Jones. It's not going to be John E. Smith versus Jill Jones. And it's not going to be Smith et al. And they're also going to omit the as the first word of a party's name, unless it's a rem proceeding. So you can see here, it's going to be Miami Herald versus Gregory, not the Miami Herald. And then you can see example of the rem proceeding that we include the word the as part of the Clinton Bridge. And then if you look at Rule 10.2.1, you're going to see that the Blue Book requires us to abbreviate procedural phrases. So if you see phrases like in the matter of, petition of, we're going to abbreviate that as NRE. If you see on the relation of or on behalf of, we're going to abbreviate that XREL. And do remember that if advisory parties are named, so basically the citation includes a V, we're going to eliminate all procedure phrases except XREL. Again, consult Rule 10.2.1 for further information. One of the tricky things is that the Blue Book Rule 10.2.1F requires us to eliminate state of, commonwealth of, and people of, except when we're citing decisions of courts within that state. And so this is better explained through examples. So here we have Gaston versus Georgia, and this is in the US reports. So that way, since we're in the US reports, we're going to eliminate that state of. So it's just going to be Gaston versus Georgia versus Gaston versus state of Georgia. But you can see in that third example, it is only going to be state v. Herald because we're citing decisions of courts within that state. So we're going to just put state v. Herald versus state of Georgia versus Herald. And then if you look at Rule 10.2.2, we do need to abbreviate geographical units unless it's the entire name of the party. So a couple examples here are Gulford versus Texas Pepper Company. We're going to go ahead and abbreviate Texas. But in the situation where in Ryerson versus Texas, and Texas is the entire name, we're not going to abbreviate that. The next thing to remember is set forth in the blue pages on pages 11 and 12. So we're going to eliminate city of, county of, village of, or similar items unless it begins a party name. So if the citation is mayor of city of New York versus Gilder, we're going to go ahead and knock off city of New York and make it mayor of New York versus Gilder. But you can see in the third example, since it starts with city of New York, we're going to go ahead and keep that city of New York. If the USA is a party, I think we all know that we can't abbreviate it. It's always going to be United States. And then remember there's a rule that requires us to drop a business term if there is more than one of these terms appearing in a name. So for example, if we have the Atlantic Fish Company Incorporated versus Hogarth, we're going to go ahead and take off the incorporated. But do note that this rule requires us to interpret it narrowly. So if you're not really sure whether to drop it, go ahead and include both of the business terms in there. So one thing to remember is how to do abbreviations in textual sentences versus a citation. So if you look at page 12 in the blue pages, it's going to say that when we're citing in textual sentence, we're only abbreviating known acronyms under Rule 6.1 and these 8 rules listed on the slide. And if it begins with if one of these words begins a party's name, then we're not going to abbreviate it. But when we're in a citation format, then we're going to go ahead and abbreviate any word listed in Table 6, even if it is the first word. So just remember there is some distinction on abbreviation, whether it's in a textual sentence or if it's being used as a citation itself. And so the key tables for cases are Table 1, which will give you the information on the report of the site, as well as court abbreviations. Table 6 is going to give you abbreviations for case names. And then Table 10 is going to give you abbreviations for geographical terms. Again, this is going to be just an overview of case names. Please refer to the rules listed in these slides if you need further information. Thank you.